Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, and our co-host is Lori Hintz.
Yes, I am.
Tuesday.
And I'm happy to be here. Yeah, Tuesday. We've got some interesting information on the legislature to share with you tonight. So I think you're going to enjoy this because we've got a lot of information to go through, a lot of very good things that people are tracking and that you may have heard a little bit about and you're wondering what's going on with them, and we're going to update you.
Yeah.
Legislative update to start with.
Let's hit it.
Okay.
So, folks, I've got several bills I was just going to go over, some of which we've discussed before, but they've made their way farther along in the sausage making. And we'll hit a couple of important ones that are coming up. So, yesterday, I believe it was, there were 3 bills killed in the Senate that I was kind of looking at. They passed the House, so remember, whatever chamber it's in now, it already passed the other side.
Right.
Because if it hadn't passed the other side,
it wouldn't be in the other one.
It wouldn't have crossed. So, 1281 is a means by which people who are private schooling can find some assistance.
Parochial school,
Yep.
home educating.
Well, it was originally for home, but that got amended out before it got killed.
You mean only parochial schools and not?
Well, only private school.
Oh, interesting.
But nevertheless, so the idea was that taxpayers' money, the property taxes, in large part are going to pay for public education, and the idea is there a way that we can help parents who want other options for their children, because it's such a huge amount is going per student.
Right.
See, the idea here was very meager, very, very limited, and basically it just said, let's go ahead and pull up the graphic, that you could get $500. It started off at $2,000, but it just popped down to $500. Hey, let's just try and make it easier for parents when they are looking for something different, better for their particular child. And it was just $500. Now keep in mind that the state is spending well over $10,000 per student per year.
Right.
And
wow.
So to try and help parents out, but that failed
miserably, or
a vote of 15 to 32 in the Senate today. Next one, 1165. This was an interesting one because I live in an extraterritorial zone. So extraterritorial zone is outside of a larger city in North Dakota. There's different parameters, but 4 miles. So the city can control what you do outside of city limits for 4 miles with zoning and various regulations. And this bill said, well, that's not really fair because they're controlling, yet you have no say.
Right.
So this would have allowed people in those zones for 4 miles from city limits out to vote for the people that are actually putting in the
taxation
regulations
without
and zoning.
representation?
Yeah, something to that effect.
Okay.
That died.
Oh.
Yes, with a...
What's going on? You told me this happened at the Senate, didn't you? You said that's where all good bills go to die.
That's where, yes. So that died 6 to 41, rather. Now, 1198, this is one that I found particularly interesting. This one is so simple, and this says, the governor may not issue an executive order or suspend or amend a provision in a statute, order, or state agency rule relating to the required minimum number of physical polling places. So this just says the physical polling places must stay open. You can't pull one of these fast ones where you just close down and it's 100% by mail. This passed in the House. It went over to the Senate.
Yes.
It passed in the Senate.
It did.
On Friday, 25 to 20.
Wow.
Yes, isn't that great?
That's fantastic.
And then they brought it back yesterday.
Yay.
They brought it back and reconsidered it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. You mean
and then they
brought it back
down.
and then they voted it?
Yes.
Oh, come on. I'm so excited. Oh, come on. Don't yank me around like that. That's so mean.
Yesterday they voted it down.
Are you kidding me? Right after
23 to 24.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
So in the Senate, in their infinite wisdom, they decided that they wanted the governor to have the power to shut down all physical polling places.
Did somebody...
I'm sorry I misled you
Well, that was mean. Did somebody in between talk to them?
I have no idea.
Do you think somebody had a conversation with them or
yes,
something?
several conversations.
That's so ridiculous.
No doubt
All right, that is, you know what? That is spineless. That makes me very frustrated.
Well, I didn't hear it, so I can't say, but it is concerning.
It
All right.
is.
Next is House Bill 1272. Correct. This was a bill that was Representative Simons. I'm going to be presenting it tomorrow to committee. And this is kind of a fun one. This has to do with guns, but this deals more with interstate commerce than it does with anything else. What this bill says, I think we have it, don't we? Go ahead and pull it up.
I think we got it.
A personal firearm, firearm accessory, or ammunition manufactured commercially or privately in the state and which remains within the state is not subject to federal law or federal regulation. Now, it goes on to say then that it's that aspect of interstate commerce. So the idea that the federal government can control these things, the way it was originally intended is that's only if it affects other states and so forth. And so in this bill, we are restating, look, it's none of the federal government's business if we manufacture it, sell it, buy it, and use it all in
North
state.
Dakota, right.
And so that'll be interesting how that one is heard. Next, we have House Bill 1396. This is, go ahead and pull that up. This one is also related to firearms. A firearm or ammunition manufacturer, importer, or dealer is immune from civil liability for any physical or emotional injury, physical damage, or death caused by the discharge of a firearm or ammunition. And so, what we find is, of course, in other states, the left is trying to, they can't get at the Second Amendment directly, although they're trying, so they're going to go indirectly and try and take out the manufacturers by saying, look, if anyone misuses your product, in other words, uses a gun to kill someone, then people can go after you, run you out of business, bankrupt you, and this bill would say, not in North Dakota.
So how do you feel that that is going to go in committee? Are you confident? Do you think that...
No. No, I'm not confident. I don't know how it's going to be confident. No, I'm not confident at all.
Okay, good to know.
It ought to be fine, I think.
It should.
Yeah, it should be. I'm not sure, but...
Interesting.
All right, and then the last one that I wanted to talk about, go ahead and pull that one up. We've spoken about this before, House Concurrent Resolution 3040. This one is mine, and this one is not related to guns. However, what it does say there is state tax may not be imposed or levied, and the effective tax rate of any state tax levied may not be increased, except pursuant to an act of the Legislative Assembly approved by a vote of 2/3 of the members elected to each house.
I really like this one.
Yeah.
I really like this one because you've got to make the threshold higher and more difficult.
Right. And what I'm proposing what I propose to the House, and what tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow, I go to the Senate committee, talk about this bill. And the idea is, look, we for many years now have been loath to increase taxes, very reluctant to increase any kind of tax. But that's not the way things are going to stay.
Right.
We don't know what 3 or 4 legislatures down the road are going to look like. May be very different. We don't know what the economy is going to look like. With the federal government spending like they are, with the Fed,
right.
I mean, we're looking at very possibly extremely high inflation. If you close down DAPL, which is a very possible thing that could occur under the Biden administration,
absolutely.
And if you continue Biden's war on coal and other fossil fuels, combine that, let's just say we have a couple bad years.
Things are going to go sideways.
In agriculture commodities, and the politicians, the legislators at that time, are going to feel they have no alternative but to raise taxes. And so what we want with this is to say it's going to require 2/3. In other words, you're going to have a strong consensus. It's going to have to really be necessary before you raise taxes.
Right.
Because, of course, we're accustomed to the spending that we have now. And once we truly don't have that ability to spend, many people are going to be looking to raise taxes. So this, if passed, would go on to the ballot for the people to vote on in 2022.
Fantastic idea.
And if they vote on it, it becomes part of the Constitution, and any new tax or any tax increase, 2/3 vote in the House, 2/3 vote in the Senate, and I think that will go a long, long way to preventing unnecessary taxes.
I can only imagine, though, once it goes to the general public, that they will see the import of this. I think that, a general person can look at it and go, okay, make it harder to raise taxes. That just, you don't even have to have tricky wording. Sometimes those initiatives and those things, those measures that come out are so confusing. And so this must have to be very, very simply stated so that people would understand it.
It's extremely simply stated. If the Senate passes it, then I predict that it will overwhelmingly pass by a vote of the people, which should say something to the Senate.
Should.
It should.
Let's hope.
And hopefully it does.
Because they obviously need to get the message.
Right.
Okay, sorry. All right, when we come back, I'm very excited that we are going to have a gentleman here who is going to talk a little bit about things also that have been going on in the legislature and what his group has to say about it. Yays and nays when we come back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health, and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. Well, we are lucky to have our guest with us, Mark Jorritsma, President and Executive Director of Family Policy Alliance.
He has a tricky name to say. We were kind of giggling about it as Jorritsma.
He got close.
He was close.
It's Jorritsma, and he said, when I said Jorritsma, he said, that's how Americans pronounce it. And I said, well, it just so happens we live in America, and I'm an American, so I still pronounced it wrong.
I'm good with that.
We're happy to have you here
Jorritsma.
today.
Thank you.
Before we do anything, why don't you explain what the Family Policy Alliance of North Dakota actually is and what you do?
You bet. We are a Christian organization that tries to integrate faith into the political world, which is kind of unusual. Mm-hmm. We like to get citizens to exercise what we call biblical citizenship, so that they apply their faith to things in the political world, right? We work with businesses, individuals, and churches, obviously. Mm-hmm. And our vision for North Dakota is a state where God is honored, and religious freedom flourishes, and families thrive, and life is cherished.
What grade do you give us in North Dakota right now on that?
on those, all four things?
I totally got gotcha moment.
Am I on the record
right?
for this?
Yeah.
No, actually.
I think we do fairly well.
In all seriousness, yes, we do. Okay. We do very well. Mm-hmm. You know, we used to live on the East Coast. We used to live in D.C. We lived on the West Coast in Washington, and trust me, we're doing really well.
Comparatively.
Yes, compared to a lot of places, we're doing great.
Well, I thought we today could maybe talk a little bit about what you have been doing in the legislature this session. You've been very busy, I understand, with various bills. Talk a little bit about some of the bills. For instance, the free speech bill that was just we had Claire Corey on on, I don't know how many weeks ago now, and she talked a little bit, and we've got a graphic here to show you what it looks like. This is 1503. An institution may not restrict students' free speech to particular areas of campus, sometimes known as free speech zones, air quotes, and the institution may not deny student activity fee funding to a student organization based on the viewpoints the student organization advocates, and an institution may not charge students or student organizations security fees based on the content of the student or student's organization's speech. Now, why would your group even be talking about free speech on campus?
I would also add one more that's really important, and that is an institution may not retract an invitation to a speaker.
Sure.
That's a very
that
big
happens
deal.
all the time with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And yeah, lots of other speakers.
So this bill was heard yesterday.
Oh, it was?
In committee. How did that go?
It went relatively well. I guess I'd characterize it. There were plenty of people on both sides of the issues. The university system felt that they've been working on it through a policy system, and therefore it did not need to be in the statutes. We felt that it did need to be in there because you can change policy anytime you want on whim. And so, yeah, those were the two primary perspectives on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's going to be voted on soon, probably?
Hard to say.
Heaven knows.
Sometime in the next week, probably.
All right. The Fairness in Girls Sports Bill is huge. I know so many people who are very upset about the possibility of women's sports and girls' sports being taken over by biological males. But the Fairness in Girls Sports Bill is HB 1298.
Yes. That is near and dear to my heart. I have a daughter, as a lot of us do, and I cannot imagine her going up against a biological boy in sports because she would be trumped. Tori Bowie, in fact, here's a good example. She was the U.S. World and Olympic champion in the 100 meters. In 2017, 15,000 boys and men beat her best time. And these are boys and men on high school teams, intramural type teams. It's not fair. Men have greater lung capacity, larger hearts. It's biology.
Right.
And biology isn't bigotry.
Right. Oh, that's a good quote. Very good. Awesome. HB 1415, physician-assisted suicide. Now that makes sense to me because euthanasia would be a very unbiblical thing. To me, it's not at all biblical to destroy something that God made. You can't kill babies, you can't kill adults. It's just not something you should do from the Bible.
Right, and we certainly support everything from natural birth to natural death. And so you're absolutely right. We testified against physician-assisted suicide. And the problem there is the slippery slope in a lot of cases. Places like the Netherlands and Norway, now you can actually kill someone for treatable mental illnesses. Oregon insurers will actually pay for suicide medications instead of treatment in that state. Yeah, it's really taken on a perverse form, and we don't want that in North Dakota.
So do you think that the people of North Dakota as a whole would support this bill banning? Would it ban physician-assisted suicide, or what does the bill say?
The bill would allow physicians.
Okay.
Now, you should know, Lori, that this bill failed.
It did.
Dramatically failed.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased
It was
to hear
a vote
that.
of 9 to 85 in the House.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that then. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we were too. We were very enthusiastic that it was defeated by such a huge margin.
And did you get a lot of public outcry on this one and input from people? I know that what you do probably with the Family Policy Alliance is get people to talk to their legislators about this stuff. So do you have some pretty good numbers of people who...
Yes, it obviously depends on the bill, but this was near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. We help facilitate them, talking to their legislators. One of the recent bills, actually the girls' sports bill that you just brought up, we counted the total number of emails that went through our system that we facilitated, and it was close to 25,000 emails.
Wow.
That went to legislators.
Impressive.
I know, that's mind-boggling. So Rick, when you get all those emails in your inbox, you can blame me.
I'm going to.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, it's not fantastic for you guys, but it is actually, because you need to hear from people and you need to know what they're thinking on those things too. So any other bills that you can think of that were on your radar this session that failed, for instance?
Well, one of the bills that was, again, near and dear to my heart was 2176, Senate Bill 2176. And that would have done something that I thought was very much needed. And it would reimburse families, parents, for the cost of homeschooling their children, not technically homeschooling, but having them at home during the COVID time, right? Obviously, the schools got lots of reimbursement, but the parents had to buy laptops, they had to, you know, in certain cases have childcare, what have you. This would be retroactive. It would apply to families that are lower income.
Sure.
It was a fabulous idea, and it got voted down by a huge majority in the Senate. It just died.
Is that the teachers' unions or the school lobby? Who's the problem there? Because it's not the parents. The parents are the ones taking it in the short. So who's opposing that? What group?
There wasn't much opposition, interestingly. The bill carrier, when he introduced it, said that he had talked to the Department of Public Instruction, and their feeling and his feeling of the committee, it came out of committee with the do not pass, unanimous do not pass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, feel free to talk to your senators if they're on that committee.
Right.
But yeah, he felt that the Department of Public Instruction would be better off using the money directly for the schools and on the instruction side rather than giving it to parents, and that it wasn't allowed by the COVID funding. All this would come out of COVID funding, so it wouldn't even affect our budget.
Right.
However, if you look at the COVID funding, without going into too much detail here, but the ESSER and the GEAR funding, it is allowed if you actually read it through. And so I was very confused and disappointed that it didn't make it through, because I want help. I want help for the families out there who have had to cope with COVID and sit at the kitchen table. And
I think we did hit this early on. We did talk about this bill, did we not talk about this?
I think it was a related bill. I don't think it was this one,
related
but there's a strong sentiment by some, and I think even more so in the Senate, that no tax dollar should go to private or home education.
Yes.
Period. And I mean, I'm not exaggerating. That's just many people believe that. So I think that's the underlying concern of why this bill wouldn't work, is it goes against what several believe to be the proper way to spend government money.
Yeah.
And it goes a little bit back to the Blaine Amendment, which is in the Constitution. It's an anti-Catholic amendment brought about. I don't remember the history, but right around the time that we came into statehood. So there's a bunch of states that have this anti-Catholic wording in their constitution all at that time, because in the country there was a wave of anti-Catholic sentiment.
Well, that is totally mystifying to me, of course. When we come back, we're going to hold you over for another segment if you're willing.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about a big victory that just was held, and we just had a pretty big celebration about something. We'll hit that when we come back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the
news.
third term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature Heroes with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz, our esteemed guest, Mark Jorritsma.
Woo, nailed it. First try.
Yeah. All right, Lori, take it away. You've got some questions.
We've been talking with Mark just a little bit. You are the President and Executive Director of Family Policy Alliance of North Dakota. There is a national Family Policy Alliance, correct? And you're under that umbrella.
Yes.
And so how often do you communicate with the national folks? Is it fairly frequently or?
Almost on a daily basis.
Really?
Yeah, depending on what it is. If it's policy related or if it's communications, they help us with communications, social media things, getting out emails, things like that. Yeah.
Well, I am on your mailing list, so I get your stuff, and I always find it very interesting. And I love that you give updates, and so I saw that you had a big victory recently.
Yes, we did.
Tell us a little bit about SCR 4010.
Okay, Senate Concurrent Resolution 4010 was essentially, because it was a resolution, it was telling someone something. It was not a law that was going to go into the Century Code. And what it was doing was telling Congress that when our state ratified the Equal Rights Amendment in 1975, it was our understanding that if not enough states ratified it by 1979, which is in the ERA, then it would expire.
Right.
Right? And through a whole lot of fancy footwork, Congress decided to go and extend the deadline, and it just became, frankly, silly. And so we felt it was necessary to go and say, look, this is important. North Dakota does not recognize this. We feel that it's expired. And why is that so important? Doesn't everyone want equal rights for men and women?
Of course.
Of course, we do too. But the problem is, at state levels, we've seen the state level ERAs be used to justify abortion, to justify dads not paying alimony payments. A whole lot of really bad things have come out of it. And it's such a vague thing. The ERA is one sentence long. So it's going to end up in the courts. It's going to spend the whole time in the courts. And that it's kind of pointless.
Are you up on what's going on in other states at the same time with the ERA? Are there other states doing the same sort of thing that North Dakota did?
Yes. We are the most recent one. There were 5 other states some time ago that said, hey, we ratified, but we no longer think we were, no longer want to be counted. And then somewhere in there, 3 states did ratify. So if you start messing around with the numbers, they still don't have 3/4 of the states.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg is quoted saying, we just essentially need to stop and start over.
Oh. Do you think that's what they're probably going to do after they realize that this fails in the states? Or
I think so. They just recently lost a court ruling about this. And so I think that would be the wise way to go if I were them. But yeah.
Interesting stuff. Well, congratulations on it was viewed by pro-lifers particularly as a really important thing to make sure that it was squashed.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it definitely had an impact on abortion in the U.S. So we're very excited about
Very
that.
good, very good. Education disappointments.
There have been a number of bills that have dealt with education, and particularly education for private and homeschool groups, and whether or not we could, as a state, provide educational choice for our students and include those groups as well as public schools. There were I think I counted 5 bills that were introduced, at least 5, and 4 of them have died. 1 is still alive, and it's now in appropriations. So who knows if that's going to make it through appropriations.
Well, maybe they can take it from 2,000 down to 500 again and then try to kill it later.
Which one is alive, do you recall?
I think 1137. I believe that's the bill number. It came out with a due pass out of committee, and then it got sent to appropriations.
We have to do a fiscal note type of thing for it, or?
Yeah. So, yeah, who knows? But, you know, there are other bills, like I mentioned before, 2176, that would reimburse families for expenses during COVID. And Family Policy Alliance did an analysis of that with a high, medium, low scenario. The total cost of that would have been $1 million to the state. And what's the budget for the state?
15 billion. Well, per year it's about $7.5 billion.
Yes, and we couldn't afford $1 million to reimburse families. So
plus the CARES money. I mean, plus all of the CARES money that was pouring in and could not. Wow, that's a shame. I know there are a lot of, so Rhonda McDaniel is constantly talking about this issue because she's a mom who's got kids at home, and it's really troublesome for mothers, especially it harms women, according to her. She's like, you know what, this is the worst thing for women because we're the ones who have to make the sacrifices and try to homeschool the kids and try to, pay all the expenses and stuff, so.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about one other thing too. I've got a visual here, a little graphic to show you. This shows up. It's a censorship alert, and that's the Family Policy Alliance on the top there. Twitter banned Focus Citizen from their platform. The crime, a tweet which identified Assistant Health Secretary pick Rachel Levine as a biological male. Now, if stating the facts gets you banned, none of us belong here. Twitter, we're wondering, are we next? Retreat to speak out. And very interesting stuff there. Also, Twitter blocked an interview with Focus on the Family President Jim Daly as well. So you're on their radar.
We're on a lot of people's radar, actually. We have giant targets on our back, but that's okay. We stand for values no matter what, right?
Now, if somebody wanted to get involved in Family Policy Alliance and help, how can they help you?
The easiest way is to go to our website and find out who we are, what we're about, right? I gave a little description at the beginning, but if you go to FPA of ND, so FPAOFND.com, you'll see all the issues, you'll see our perspectives on them. If you sign up for our email list, we won't spam you, we promise, but we will send you legislative updates. And you'll know what's going on family-related issues. And we'll alert you and say, hey, talk to your representative, talk to your senators, tell them that this is an important bill. We want them to help pass it. And so, yeah, that's how they can get to know us.
Excellent. Thank you very much for coming in today. We really, really appreciate you giving us your perspective and your update on that, too.
Thank you very much, Mark. Happy to have you. Happy to have you on. All right, next up, folks, we are going to go through a little bit of mailbag.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Watch No Filter with me, Debbie Schlussel, for no-nonsense, unfiltered analysis of the news that matters to you. You'll see engaging guests.
It began a 444-day nightmare.
Entertaining analysis, and it has everything to do with something that happened in history. And honest movie reviews. Trust me, this is just atrocious. No Filter with Debbie, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back. No apologies. On back.
On deck.
Back.
Yes.
So
Okay.
do mailbag hands.
Okay, mailbag.
Okay, mailbag. So these are, this is your input to us on our show. And we're happy to share it with you. And as always, we encourage you to give us your input, positive or negative. I don't care. Get as nasty as you
Doesn't
want.
matter.
It makes it more interesting.
Doesn't matter. It's
Oh, I
good.
got a doozer.
Did you get an email that's really ugly? Ooh.
Today, yikes.
Okay, we'll be looking at that maybe on Friday if you're willing to share. Are you willing to share, or is it really bad?
It's pretty bad.
Okay, well, let's take a look at what you've been saying on social media. And we start with not very long ago, and we're going to go up to recent too. So what should North Dakota do with that extra $2 billion in CARES money? This was the question we put to our viewers, and some of your answers were interesting. Some people were pretty adamant about their answers. Support the child care industry so parents can afford to work and pay for child care, and providers can continue to provide care. Another person says, build a wall on the Minnesota border to keep the riffraff out.
Now, it's not $2 billion in CARES, just to be clear. It's probably 1.2, something like that. But then we have another $1 billion in oil money we weren't expecting. So just to be accurate.
Totally accurate.
Now, I would not
and
be
clear.
in favor, to the chagrin of the person who wrote this, because I know they were very passionate about the idea. But I don't think we should be subsidizing anything with the CARES money, not even something as noble as child care.
Or a border wall. Okay, moving on. These are still from this same subject, so maybe you can take it away here.
Okay, use the first $1 billion to pay back the money borrowed for the state's budget deficit. So they're talking about what we have discussed, the bondings, meaning borrowing bill from future generations so that we can keep our spending levels up and do lots more cool government things. And then the second $1 billion should be infrastructure, not just Fargo-Bismarck, not the oil patch. This person wants the streets fixed. And again, sorry, nope, that's not
That's not what the CARES money is for. Yep.
Now, what it can be for is for the states to be able to do everything they're obligated to do and not have to tax the. And when I say tax, I don't mean directly tax, but to put responsibility on some of the municipalities, and then they're more easily able to care for the streets themselves. But we definitely don't want the state getting put in charge of fixing
roads.
roads in the cities.
In the cities, yeah,
No.
agreed. If you look to the second one there, you're talking childcare again, the same sort of thing. We had a bill that would have done just what I described, SB 2176, we just said that, but it was voted down in the North Dakota Senate. And then the third one says, I'm sure the rhino-controlled North Dakota legislature will find a crafty way to waste the money in good old liberal ways. You know, sometimes you do have to get a little cynical about this, not gonna lie. Per capita, North Dakota has received the most CARES money. Is that true? Do you believe that is the truth?
I don't know if it's a fact, but I know that we're way up there.
Okay, but thank God the oil industry got bailed out, and now it sounds like banks.
Banks with poor investments, so they're talking about the intermodal that we brought up.
Yep.
And boy, has that caught on.
Right? No kidding. And that's a good thing that people are aware of that too. And then raise taxes works for everything else.
I like the last sentence from that. The guy talking about the rhinos. Why don't these rhino losers just write themselves checks and be done with it? I like that.
We do have great viewership.
I'm
going
to write myself a check.
Super, super smart. Okay, now we can go on to the next one. All right, so how about give it back to the taxpayers? I don't think that's how CARES money, well, maybe that is how CARES money works. They usually just write
unlike
checks
Alaska, we cannot give money to the citizens of North Dakota. It's against our Constitution. However, what we could do is stop taking so much of their money in the first place.
Bingo.
Bing, ding, ding, ding.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Give it back to the taxpayers as they should. The next person says, fix the schools in Western North Dakota. Either send it back or cut taxes by that amount. And then, of course, give each North Dakota citizen a fixed amount, approximately that much. Use it to jumpstart a plan to eliminate property tax. Is that an idea?
Yeah, it's an idea that's in the trash can, and that's never coming out, unfortunately.
Very positive.
Full audit of North Dakota State Health Department, Governor and the Legislative Council, House and Senate leadership. I like that. Going after it. Going after it.
Right. And then the last one, of course, Presidential Library, asking for a friend. You always said that never, ever gets old.
It never gets old.
It just doesn't. Okay, now we're going to move on. This is an email that came to us also. We had Dave Naring on, as you may recall, on the program, and he just did a wonderful job. It was really nice to host him here. I thought he did a very, very good job. He talked about Second Amendment things in this. Person writes and says, thanks, in their subject line. Thanks for inviting Dave Naring on the show. It was great to get to know
where he's standing.
Right?
Especially on Second Amendment issues. Yep, I'm in District 8 and can attest to having Governor Burgum meddling in legislative races to the tune of millions of dollars. Totally distract from Naring's and Ondal's actual merits.
Right?
True.
Good point.
All that being said, I'm very, very glad to have Mr. Naring represent the people of District 8.
I thought that was very nice. That was a very nice email.
And I'm going to pat ourselves, Lori, you and I, on the back for not being entrenched in the idea that Burgum is going to taint the people that he's on, and we're letting each person be evaluated by their own merit.
Yep, and he has done, as you have said, a wonderful job in the legislature already. He's been very, very, very good.
Yes.
So as a freshman. Okay, this is the newest thing that came up. This is just from like today. North Dakota employee retirement. Fix it now or fix it later. And we just talked about this, last night?
Yes.
On the program.
Yep, we're talking about the pension reform. This is a great time to fix it. And we had a couple of responses. South Dakota, with no oil wells, no income tax, is break even with its public employees pension fund.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think that speaks volumes.
It sure does.
It speaks volumes.
I love that our viewers say this stuff because they are very savvy. They're very up on what's going on. So I really appreciate our very, very smart viewers. I do.
And then the government and its politicians are good at kicking the can down the road until a crisis comes to an unavoidable head.
True.
It needs to be fixed now before there's a crisis. Now, folks, I am hoping that we are going to be able to bring good news to you on this front. There's a lot of action here. It's coming on many fronts in the legislature. There's discussion on it ongoing all throughout yesterday, all throughout today. I think there will be movement on this. Now, the big spenders, the big spenders are not fond of this because they want to have the money to do their own pet projects. And so there's going to be a little bit of a fight within the legislature on the big spenders versus the people that do see that we've kicked the can far too far down the road. It's time to take care of it.
Friction's good, though. It's good. That's where you get good outcomes, is when you have good discussion. When you just skip past the rule of laws when you have problems.
Agreed.
So, all right.
What are you referring to?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So if you want to contact us, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us by email. You can email us as well, and we would really appreciate you. Visit us online at beck.news. You can watch back shows and catch up if you lost something that you've missed and you're like, wait a minute, I don't know what they're talking about.
There's so many doors in this. It's beck.news,
I know.
beck.tv,
right.
becknews.com.
Right.
Just type in Beck
BEK
and then
and
close
you're
your
golden.
eyes and just type, and you're going to get there, apparently.
All right. When we come back, we will go over another one of JR's EOs.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Big shout out to North Dakota and Beck News, where you can watch the Dr. Duke Show each weekday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
North Dakota is one of the last bastions of sanity in our republic. The legislature consistently passes pro-life and family legislation. This session, North Dakota legislature is trying to thwart efforts to allow boys to say they are girls and play on girls' sports teams. Go North Dakota.
And thanks for carrying the Dr. Duke Show on Beck TV.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. You've done it once again. Congratulations. This is the fifth and final segment for tonight. Alas, do not be afraid. We will be back tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Executive order. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.'s orders, they just keep on coming. And what I like is that they're so consistent.
Right.
You know, like when I go to McDonald's,
You know what you're
I
going to
know
get.
what I'm going to get. Now, the pickles, there's two pickles.
Right.
They could be on one side of the burger, or they could be properly placed somewhere in, you know, in a paramedian position, more or less. But I know what I'm getting. I'm going to get the onions. I'm going to get ketchup that's distributed about over 33% of the patty. But I know what I'm getting, and I like that. And President Biden, I got to say thank you, because I know we are going to get all sorts of redistribution. we are going to be made more aware of what a racist society we live in and how we are racist.
We're going to hear the word equity multiple times.
Yeah. There's going to be justice all over the place, environmental justice,
Yep.
social justice, all sorts of justice.
That is so funny and so very, very true.
I like it. It
We're
makes me
on,
feel good.
Like 44 of 56 people. So this one is an interesting one. Let's take a look at what it says here first.
Well, first off, the executive order is on creating a comprehensive regional framework to address the causes of migration, to manage migration throughout North and Central America, and to provide safe and orderly processing of asylum seekers at the United States border.
And that's just the title.
So that's the title. You know what? We can easily do this whole segment by not moving anywhere beyond the title.
Yep.
First off, and I got to stick here for just a second.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to address the causes of migration in the region, meaning in Central and South America.
Correct.
And we're going to manage that migration.
Wait a minute. That's not our country.
It's not our country. It's not our business.
Gosh.
What in the world are they thinking? Worry about your border.
Right?
Worry about your border. Worry
Your own
about the
country.
message that you're sending to people indicating that they ought to try and cross the border illegally. And it just blows me away. It goes into the whole aspect of being the policeman of the world, of globalization.
You have no business doing that.
And it's going to, and as we go through this order, we're going to see that that is exactly what they're talking about.
Okay.
All right, here, so it says, we cannot solve the humanitarian crisis at our border without addressing the violence, instability, and lack of opportunity that compel so many people to flee their homes. So this administration is going to address violence, instability, and lack of opportunity in Central America and South America.
Not even our country. That's not our country. Yeah, and you know, at the lack of opportunity that compels so many people to flee their homes, they are in that country. That country needs to take care of that. We do not need to take care of other countries' issues. They need to take care of their own issues.
And as we're going to see throughout this order as well, what the means by which they're going to do that is sending money,
Right.
our taxpayer money, to other countries.
To other countries. That's how it works, folks. Too. Yes.
All right.
All right. Next slide. Nor is the United States safer when resources that should be invested in policies targeting actual threats, such as drug cartels and human traffickers, are squandered on efforts to stymie legitimate asylum seekers. Okay, this makes me mad because you can be an asylum seeker, you can be an immigrant, or you can be an illegal immigrant. You can be a legal immigrant, you can be an illegal immigrant. Now, asylum seekers could be anyone. Refugees?
Well, if it's legitimate, then that's an entirely different situation.
Exactly my point.
Right. And they're conflating it like they always do.
Yes, as is their custom.
All right, next graphic. My administration will implement a multi-pronged approach toward managing migration throughout North and Central America to establish a comprehensive strategy for addressing the causes of migration in the region.
Is he the president of Central America? And I didn't hear about this part of it. I didn't realize that he was the president as well of Central America.
He is the president of Central America.
I just had no idea.
In fact, his policies are driving Mexico nuts because the people are coming from Honduras and Guatemala,
right through
El Salvador, and they're causing havoc in Mexico.
Right.
He can't control anything that's going on in the United States or even at the border to be able to go on into other countries.
One word, cartels. Cartels, using 15-year-olds to take drugs across.
Yes.
Is he the president of those two?
Well, somehow he's going to be able to control that, and they can't control Portland.
Right. He's not wrong. That's exactly right.
They can't control Portland, but they're going to control Central America.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All right, next graphic. Restore and strengthen our own asylum system, this executive order says, which has been badly damaged by policies enacted over the last 4 years that contravened our values and caused needless human suffering. What a bunch of hogwash.
That's a little Trump dig right there. We have to say 4 years so everybody knows, oh, Orange Man bad. That's what that whole thing says right there.
Things are so much worse right now because of what Biden has done.
I was just thinking about that today. You know, I was thinking pre-COVID and how things were humming along. Remember how good life was at that point? It was just, the economy was soaring and roaring. It was that was a good day. Those were good days. Though I recall those good days,
Right.
and now it's just like.
Well, and this needless human suffering has shot up dramatically again because of Biden.
Right.
Because people are sending kids over, they're intermixing the drug, they're abusing the teenagers. It's horrible. The people were saying Orange Man is causing all these kids to be in cages,
Right, yeah.
which started with Obama,
Right.
Which continued with Trump, and which has magnified dramatically
Yeah,
with
7
Biden.
times
Let's
as
move
much,
on to
too.
the next one.
Okay. Combating corruption, strengthening democratic governance, and advancing the rule of law. I can't do that without laughing. I'm sorry. Because it's like they got rid of all the rules. There's no rule of law. They totally, tossed them out the window. Are you kidding me? How
All right,
dare they
next
say rule
one.
of law? I'm sorry. Okay.
Next one. Countering, preventing violence, extortion, other crimes perpetrated by criminal gangs, trafficking networks, and other organized criminal organizations. Again, you can't control what's going on in our inner cities. How about you get control of Chicago or New Orleans before you worry about Central America, Mr. President?
Yeah, this is just horrendous. This is much like everything else on his executive orders. We're just going to send money elsewhere. That's all it is. All right. So.
Yeah. So this is a huge overreach, and it's phenomenal to me that they have the the idea that the Central America is going to be okay with this. It blows my. And again, like everything else, huge redistribution of our taxpayer dollars to other countries. It doesn't stop.
Next time, join us tomorrow. We will get you up to date on bills, and we will have North Dakota Watchdog Network's Dustin Goverlow as our guest. Join us then. See ya.
Next up is No Filter with Debbie. Stay tuned.